bedang boom. Hello. A snack, a crunchy snack. All right. Hey, Elena. It's sorry, it's my snack. The template are for sashiko patterns. I'm trying to figure out how I want to quilt this small blanket. And like these squares would be a good size to use the sashiko templates with. But I don't know if it would make it like too visually crowded, or do I care? I'm just trying to figure it out. So I have quite a few patterns. I think they're somewhat visible. So I have a ruler for straight lines. Thing is with straight lines is that the back is similar to the front, and I was like, oh, perhaps if I draw a line from corner to corner and add something here, so everywhere would be a line, and then kind of an extra here. But thing is, they don't line up perfectly on their own side and then from one side to the next, so my diagonal here might be like really weird on the other side, so it might not be the best idea to go from corner to corner. Hey, Susan! Hello! Hi, Lena, too, by the way. I don't know if I said hi. So, yeah. That's where I'm at. Yeah, like you say, Lena, I feel like the templates are like exactly the right size for this, so I kind of really want to use them with this project. It feels like satisfying because it matches so well. But I think this pattern might be the one I end up choosing. It's the Fondo pattern. It's probably a bit hard to see. But yeah, I could like And then I just have to trace in it, and then I quilt this, and then I go to the next one. Or do I flip it? Do I make it like the other way around? So this would be, oh, that could be fun. And then you just sort of flip them all. I don't know. Can't you put the plain fabric on the back? No, I don't want to put the plain fabric on the back. I want this one to be reversible. Yeah, the thing is that they don't align perfectly. I know, because like they don't align on each side, and then I'm pretty sure they, like, this one is a good example of how like unaligned it is. So I don't mind the flaw, but I feel like bringing extra focus to the flaw might not be the most clever thing to do. Crunch, sorry. It would indeed make for a really interesting pattern on the back. I agree, but I mean, I'm probably gonna reuse these, and it might be a future experiment to make one that is, you know, plain squares, so that I can possibly use one of the more intricate patterns here, like the flower. I feel like the flower would be lost on this one, on these square. Then I would go with a bigger template. Why? Why? I'm curious. The pink square could have a white flower. I'm thinking. Put a bigger template, it would look better on the back side, because it would not fit perfectly anyway. Yeah, but I don't really have a bigger template. Because its pattern is not very overwhelming and the stitches would be visible. I will knit while I watch. Awesome! I wonder what color is on the other side of the pink square. My knit are magenta socks, like the color of the bright square you have there. This one? For Manny's. Oh, that's lovely. Get one from internet. You mean get a larger sashiko pattern? I don't... I'm trying to... When I go silent, it's because my brain is speeding up. I'm almost done with the Christmas gifts. Oh, that's awesome! Is it? Are you making like socks for everyone, or did you have a bit of variety for your sake in there? If I'm too undecided, I'll switch to a different project, I think. Because my other idea was I'm gonna use these thread just to indicate what my idea was. But it was basically to, let's say, draw a diagonal like that, stitch that up, and then, like, say, I take this one. I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of like half circles, and then have that like in the corner. Here you would get the 2 half circles. Let's do a very crude mock-up. There you go. Oh wow, that's lovely. So cute. And it would be like that to here, and then these would get the like half circles here and here. But that's the thing. Unless I stop kind of short of the corners here, and it might end up looking really weird at times. Not that I mind all that much, but for everyone, but also a shawl for my mother-in-law and scarf and hat for father-in-law because they didn't want socks, and a dragon for my niece, but it's not done yet. A dragon, wow. And how come they didn't want socks? That's kind of rude. Oh, I hope you're not cursed like Otto seems to be, with people who are really ungrateful for handmade items. Oh my gosh. Come on. Stay, it really doesn't want to stay put. Oh, Otto is just unlucky. Like she will gift handmade items, and it always kind of feels like the people she ends up gifting it to, they don't really appreciate it, which sucks, you know. Father-in-law actually lit up when I told them I'll knit the gifts this year and asked for a scarf and hat. Oh, okay, okay. C'est Chiron! Salut, tu bête! T'as-tu vu à la fenêtre? I have a cat visitor. Oh, big stretch. She's adorable. She's so fluffy. Ellen! Hello! That is so sad. People are sometimes not understanding how much goes into making these. I started with the gifts in March. Wow. So that's 9 months of crafting or so? Wow. Bring me all the handmade socks. After 3 years, I've finally been hit with ye old plague. Handmade things that are cozier. Oh no! Oh, I hope you got a tame version of it. Snoozing, yeah, definitely. But I've too had gifted handmade items and was told they were not the taste and that the person has thrown them away. Oh, hey, Mikey. What? Thrown them away? Oh, that hurts extra. That's so painful. Well, since I'm very undecided about this and really unsure, I might just switch to something else. There's a very fluffy kitty outside. She's so fluffy. She's so fluffy. I love fluffy kitties. Decided, so all you and you and you, the rest can stay. You guys are going over here. These guys. That. And this thing. And these. I've been making cat coasters. A couple of issues yet, and I still have to press them. But yeah, it's been fun. Though yeah, I kind of have some issues with the fabric gaping. Figure it out. Yes, they told me it went into trash. It was baby clothes because they had a baby and I needed a cardigan, a dress, and baby socks. What? Were they the baby clothes you mentioned making on the Discord some time ago? So far I'm okay. Mom got knocked out the past couple days. Oh no, but I'm proud of the fact that I'm pretty sure it was my parents who brought it home, not me. No! Ah, dude, that's painful. I'm currently under 2 crocheted lap blankets a friend of mine made. One is a giant granny square. So cozy, I love it. No, it was very long ago, about 18 years. Whoa! I still have them on Ravelry. Whoa! Okay, so this is the one I'm currently working on as a side project. And I'm making another small blanket. And it's gonna be like cat faces, like this. Spit. I might have to BRB. Gotta feed that cute cat. Be right back. I'm back. Sorry. So yeah. So the cat faces is. I realized that I had a charm pack and a mini charm pack of the same fabrics. So basically, I have a large square and a small square of the same fabric. And I thought I would, you know, just have fun with it and make a bunch of cat faces. And gotta check my reference photo. I'm good. I posted the dress on Discord. I'll check it out when I'm after the stream. But yeah, I'm eager to see. I cannot fathom being so disrespectful. Okay, fine. It's not your style. I mean, it's a baby. So, yeah. But also, if it's really not your style, don't throw it away. Give it like, or give it back to the person who made it, saying like, thank you for the gift, but like just say it doesn't fit or something. I think if someone told me they did that, I would curse them off. You could have easily never known. Yeah, exactly. First of all, they didn't have to tell you. And I hope you cut them off. I hope like, ugh. Yeah, they could have just, you know, come up with any kind of way to address the situation that's not this insane level of disrespectful, you know. I mean, we've all received gifts that in the end we ended up like not using or were not a good fit, but I never really threw anything away. If it really was that bad, I tried to rehome the item or just gave it to a charity shop. Well, I never needed for them or their family again, kid. I'm glad you didn't. Like, they don't. Oops, sorry, head. They don't deserve it. They really don't. Like, I've had situations where I felt like the handmade gift that I gave were perhaps not something to do again in the future. Like this person doesn't really care about handmade stuff, which is, you know, fine. But they never really like throw it in the garbage. And yeah, like Mikey said, they didn't have to tell you that. The thing to do is this: even if you don't like it, put it on a kid, take a few pics, and then donate the item to someone who can use it. It's not hard to abide the social contract. Exactly, yeah. And also, like, going the extra length of being like, oh, we threw it in the trash. I'm sorry, Lena, perhaps we should stop talking about that. Perhaps that's not super nice, but it's just baffling. Like, I've seen handmade items at the secondhand store, and that's perfectly fine. That's kind of more respectful, you know. I knitted for many babies after that, and everyone loved the items, and the kids did too. Oh, I'm fine, it's long ago. Okay. Also, it's a anyway. It's definitely a result of my upbringing as a kid, because let's face it, babies, they don't really remember anything. They see photos later on in life, but they don't have memories of that stuff. But yeah, I kind of find it really funny when parents have a specific style in mind for the baby, and I'm like, it's a baby. As long as it's, as long as its needs are taken care of, like the color of whatever I don't know, perhaps it's because I grew up with like, just, whatever. You didn't have a say. You just got a thing and, that was it. So I have a happy story. Oh! Lana says, I've had a niece who rediscovered a cardigan I knitted for her when she was 3 and when she was 5, and so she wanted to wear it so badly again that I got it extended for... Oh, that's so cute! Oh, that's a good kid. Good kid. Well, it started off bad. My groceries were supposed to be here between 11 and 12 yesterday, and they never showed up. It was a... oof. After 2 hours on the phone, a guy who worked for the store I ordered from decided to bring them on his own after he got off work. Nicest kid ever. We tipped him extra, of course. That's lovely! Yay! Good people! I didn't have a St. Michael's too. Yeah, seriously, I had hand-me-downs from my older cousins. It was tough that... I remember, like, getting the bags and being excited for a moment because you don't know what's going to be in there, and then seeing the clothes themselves and being like, oh, okay then. That was really it. That was the, okay then, these are my clothes now, I guess. And like getting clothes as a Christmas gift when you're a kid, that's always so I find it sad. I find it really, really sad. Unless it's like something you really want, but for me personally, whenever I would get clothes as a gift, it will always be stuff my parents chose for me. So you get a bunch of clothes that you kind of go like, okay, well, I guess I like this now, And I get that instead of, toys. Like, as a kid, you don't really care about your clothes. The toys are, like, definitely a more interesting prospect. Crunch, crunch. And the style was so weird in the 80s and 90s. Even as the oldest, the clothes were just odd at times. Yeah, so much corduroy. My mom bought something and that was it. Yeah. Alan says, we had a system. My friend's cousin got them, then her sister got them, then I got them because I was taller than her, and then my friend got them, and stuff was passed around a lot in between. Which is fine. I don't have any issues with that, but that completely destroys the notion of, like, as a kid, you don't really have a style, really. For real, toys were the real deal. Seriously. And there's no way that, as a kid, there is not a toy you want. Some, like, at all times, there's always one toy that you're like, oh, I would really like to have that. And kid grows so fast. Buying all new every time is a bit much. If there's a system, it's the best. Exactly. For me, like, I have a bunch of cousins that are girls and a bunch of cousins. Well, I have one cousin that's a dude. So often his clothes would get passed down to my younger brother and would eventually fit at some point. I would get clothes from my older cousins, and I don't know if sometimes I would send them along to my younger cousin because I think she was taller than me, so perhaps not. Perhaps everything ended up with me. Yeah, I wasn't allowed to choose my own clothes. I changed that up with my son. I let him always choose own clothes. He's a snappy dresser. That's fun. Yeah, I remember also my mom like taking out my clothes in the morning of what I would wear. And you know, you just roll with it, but then when you eventually get older and can decide on your own what you want to wear, there are some clothes that are never worn again. No. those go in the bag to you know, pass forward really quickly. Also, I believe that I'm not as picky about my clothes. I want them to look nice and be comfortable, but I'd still wear them until they wear out and then get new ones. I have clothes that are 10 plus years as long as they're good. Yeah, exactly. And good quality items you can either like wear for a long time or you can, you know, fix and keep on wearing them, and the repairs add a lot of charm to it rather than, you know, like the kind of wear and tear that you get from good quality items is not the same as you get from cheap items. And more often than not, if it's a good quality item, you can totally fix it and make some repairs and the item will look good still. But if it's something cheap, the item will just look bad and there's really not any way to fix it. Exactly, the photos are kind of funny to look back on, and they can be dated by who had a particular sweater on it and given time. I remember a particularly hideous green and black 80s tastic sweater. There's so many photos of so many people wearing it. But that must have been a really good sweater to, you know, fit so many people and for so long. I mean, that's a quality item right there. Oh yeah, like cheap cotton shirts wear out so fast and become super thin. Double-sided knit? Oh, whoa. Must have been so warm too. Wow. That sweater is probably in style again. Oh, definitely. If it still exists somewhere, it's probably still going. It was bulky, might even still fit. If it was still around. Yeah, exactly. Sweaters as genealogy. I love it. Yeah, you can track people through their garments, which probably was, you know, much easier to do 100 years ago than it is now. I was watching a video from a dress historian, and she was saying how like how the mindset around garments used to be so different. Like you had like the layers of clothing that were close to this, that were on the skin, those were meant to be, you know, easy to wash, super sturdy, really simple, like easy to fix and all that. And the outer garment, those were the fancy ones. And they had so many ways of trying to, you know, always upcycle their outer garments so they could wear it the longest. Like, oh, if something gets too stained, well, you dye it the different color. Like, you dye it darker so the stains are less visible, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. We don't really do that anymore. Like, a lot of garments, like, if you say a pair of jeans, they often wear out in places that are very difficult to fix. Like, if the part between the thighs wear off, like, you can't really fix it. You can fix a knee patch for sure, but imagine photoshopping all the family members with that sweater from photos into one family portrait. That would be really funny. Oh yeah, and there was everyday simpler outer garments and more fancy ones for, yeah, and the undergarments were basically the same regardless. And they were often made from linen, which is particularly resilient. Linen doesn't smell when people sweat as much and can be aired out. Yep. It can be boiled, it can be, you know, really scrubbed. You can bleach it. Like the video I was watching, they were mentioning how of all the fibers for clothing, linen is the only one, or one of the only one, that gets stronger when it's wet, whereas all the other fibers, they kind of get weaker when they're wet. So if you end up washing linen, so you put it into water and you beat it up, it can take a much stronger beating because it doesn't wear out the fibers as much. You guys have me thinking about this little girl for a coat I had with a muff and a ruff, like I said. There are pictures of me skating at Rockefeller Center Plaza in that coat. Ooh! That's fun though. I mean, fine, you didn't choose the garments, but it makes for a fun photo. And a fun memory too. When I went on my pilgrimage or long distance hike, oh wow, of 1,000 kilometers total in 6 weeks, I wore one linen shirt and only washed it every 2 weeks. And it was good and not smelly at all. Wow! And Mikey in mink or some shit like that. That sounds extra fancy. Wow. The earliest photo of me skating that I remember seeing, I'm in a mint green full snowsuit. I have a hockey helmet on because, you know, and I have old skates on and ice skates. And the story about that instance is that I fell on my face immediately and started like a nosebleed. Oh shit. And yeah, so dark red blood on on mint green like fabric, so very easy to spot. And yeah, I never really took to skating after that. I'm pretty sure you can figure out why. Oof, Mikey, that sounds rough, yeah. Oh no, Mikey. Mikey says, I had a skating accident in a pageant where the guy I was skating with knocked me down and I broke my nose, blood on the ice. Oh no. They have to be prepared for that to happen. I mean, come on. Actually, it wasn't too bad. I was more pissed off that he had ruined my entrance. Pigeons on the ice, it's like extra hard. Yeah, it's like how messy do you want everything to end up being? Thank God my parents got divorced, then I got out of the pageant life pretty early. I mean, some kids like it. But yeah, I wonder if any kid comes out unscathed by being in a pageant as a child, especially nowadays. I feel like everything is extra bonkers now. You wanted pageant life? Are pageant bigs in Canada? Because I mostly hear about them from US. I'm not sure there are any in Germany at all. At least it's not a big thing. No, I was just doing it to make my mom happy, really. She had a signed up to doing... Oh, she had us sign up to do something every other week. Wow. I don't know about it in Canada. I've mostly heard about it from the US, but yeah, since we're not, you know, very far from the US, both physically and culturally, it's gotta be a thing in some shape or form. That's very far. You share a border. Yeah! We do. I mean, if you look at the country on the map, yeah, we share a border, so it's not far at all, but like the physical act of going to the US is somewhat lengthy. Canada is really vast, so getting to the borders can take quite a few hours, if not, you know, a lot more than that, depending. I have an ocean in between. I'm pretty sure that flying... Like, I wonder if the distance is really that different between flying from, like, really far north Canada to flying from overseas. Possibly. I don't have the visuals in my head right now, and I'm obviously not that good with geography in general. Basically, the thing is that Canada is big and relatively empty. Actually, that pageant that I was talking about happened when I was living in Canada, outside of Toronto and Mississauga. Oh, really? I don't know. I just checked. Flying to New York only 500 euros one way and takes 8 to 9 hours. I'm about 1 hour driving from New York City, or by train or Uber. Ooh, that's gotta be an expensive Uber bill though. I'm quite a few hours driving from New York City, but I don't remember how many. I went to NYC once when I was in high school, but I lived in a different city then. I don't exactly remember how much time it took. I thought it was more expensive, especially now towards the holidays. Well, it's only a one-way ticket too. So, assuming you want to go back home, it's kind of pricey. My brother recently had surgery and had to see the doctor after the surgery, so we had to hire a car. It was expensive, like oof. Montreal to New York flight is about as expensive, but only 2 hours flight. Why? Yeah, but I still thought it was more expensive for one way because the flight to Paris is closer to 200, 300 euros. Super, yeah, it's really expensive. But I mean, if you have to. Hey, Paulo! Hello! Yeah, what are you cooking? We gotta talk about food. We gotta segue into food now. So we mentioned that the holidays are coming. Oh, we're officially in December. That means I can put up my Christmas lights. But yeah, what's the like one meal, holiday meal that you have to either bake or cook or eat during the holidays. Tomorrow is first Advent. What do you mean? Tomorrow is the 3rd. Over here, the way the Advent stuff works is that it's basically a countdown from December 1st. Nothing fancy. Apple and raspberry crumble with flapjack topping. Ooh. Almost everything. I think that for us it's when we make gingerbread cookies, but I really like this specific recipe because it has a lot of ginger in it. It has fresh ginger, so it's quite, you know, punchy, and it has a lot of molasses, so the cookies are like a deep dark brown. And if I compare them to, let's say, my mom's recipe, I love my mom's gingerbread cookies, but I really prefer the recipe that I found because hers were perhaps too sweet and not enough molasses, and they always kind of left a weird feeling in my mouth. But the ones we make now are really, really good, and I always I roll them out. I don't really have cookie cutters that are suitable, so we use just a mason jar lid, and we make round cookies, and then we bake them, and once they're baked and cooled, we decorate them, and that's the fun part, because our decorating skills are non-existent, and we don't have like good gear for decorating. It's very it's very haphazard, so it's always a lot of fun, and we end up with a batch of ugly cookies, and it's always a great time. My second favorite thing is when we bake a whole chicken. Like, we do it once a year because it's, I don't know, it's just a lot of hassle to bake a whole chicken. But yeah, it's our Christmas chicken, and everybody enjoys a bit of chicken, including the cats. And that's about it. Hold on, let me catch up on chat. Almost everything. Anna says Lebkuchen, German gingerbread, because it's not available during the rest of the year. Ooh, what's special about it? What makes it German gingerbread? Paolo says, in the last years I've been doing most of the Xmas cooking. Wait, your Advent goes backwards. We start with 1 and Christmas is on 4. Oh, is yours just on like the Sundays or something? Because for us, over here an Advent calendar, you start December 1st, and it basically counts all the way until the 25th. And you, like most Advent calendar here are, you get something every day, and on the 25th you get something extra. Like, oh, if it's chocolate, it's going to be a bigger chocolate. If it's paint, it's going to be a full pan instead of a half pan, you know? Mikey says, but the only place I've stayed extensively is Greece because, you know, my people are Greek. That's lovely, though. Greece is a beautiful place. Lots of cats. Lena says, that's why we light candles, and 1 is the biggest, and 4 the smallest. So they burn on. Oh, that's interesting. I want that recipe. I'll find it for you. It's actually, turns out it's a vegan recipe too, so. But I love it so much. They're the perfect balance of chewy and crunchy, and they are not too sweet, and they really pack that ginger punch and the molasses, and oh my gosh, I can't wait. I'm so excited. German gingerbread actually is soft, round or square, and has no ginger. For real? Well, it's not gingerbread then. It's what? It's spice bread, possibly? It's a spicy, nutty flavor. Do you stuff the chicken? Not really. I think the recipe we start from stuffs the chicken only with a lemon to give it flavor, but I think we just leave it empty. I think it's more useful to have a neutrally seasoned chicken because you can then have it in different recipes. Like you can have it in ramen, you can make sandwiches, you can make pasta, you can, you know, sandwiches, I said that twice. Oh my gosh. So we usually just season it with lots of salt and pepper. The spices make it special, I think. I can look up some recipes and share. And it says it's on Sundays. The 4 Sundays before Christmas, but we also have the 24th day one, which also starts at December 1 with first door. Yeah, exactly. And I want that recipe too. I'll find it. I'll transcribe it. It's in English, but I think the website I had it from no longer exists, so I think it might be a good idea to just like recopy it, like have a digital version somewhere so it's not lost. It's always translated as gingerbread. That's so funny. I want to send you something. Aw. No, I don't. Only thing I'm allergic to is penicillin and milk protein. Protein. And I mean, the milk thing, it's you know, when people are lactose intolerant and they sometimes still have lactose because it's worth it. That's kind of how I approach the dairy protein thing. Like, not, I couldn't eat cheese, actual cheese, or like cream or yogurt. All of that is just too far gone. But like, if I see a chocolate that looks appealing and it has a bit of milk in it, I might eat it anyway and suffer the consequences. Which is pain, but you know, not as much pain as I would get from eating straight up yogurt or cheese. Oh my gosh. The pain. But yeah, butter is fine, so... I would check for milk protein, but it 100% has no penicillin in it. Yeah, that's what I thought. That one is usually not that big of a concern unless I get sick. And usually when I get sick and I go to the doctor, I'm still like conscious and I can report to them that like, no penicillin, please. I really like nuts in general, so I'm glad that nuts and gluten, I'm really glad that I have no issue with these so far in life, because I would be really bummed. It's one of those things, like, if you don't have any issue, it might seem unsurmountable to live without that stuff, but once you start having serious enough issues, your priorities shift, and it becomes much easier to live without the stuff that's causing you a lot of issues, you know? Because no one wants to feel awful all the time, so you kind of figure it out, you know? Oh, that reminds me, speaking of figuring it out, did I mention the fake cream cheese that I tried out recently and really, really love? I've been putting it on everything, honestly. Like pizza, put some blobs of cream cheese on it. Sandwich, put some cream cheese in it. Pasta, let's have some fake cream cheese in the pasta. Let's go, everything, let's go. And it's so good. It's made from cashews and it's kind of fermented. Has a neutral enough flavor that you can really have it with anything. And the first cat face of this row. Column. I don't work in rows for this one, I work in column. So it's gonna be like... These will be sewn together. So it's gonna be like cat face, cat face, cat face, cat face, a bunch of cat faces. And I think the way I might quilt this one up is I'll draw a couple of templates and draw like features on the cat faces as a way to quilt this one, but definitely not there yet, so. Why Wow, yogurt and cheese are like 50% of my diet. I don't know what I would do. Well, that's the thing. Like, you kind of figure it out. That's what we do, humans. When we are in specific situations, we figure it out. We just do. But at the same time, if there's no need to figure it out, I mean, I used to really love yogurt. Now I find, like, you know, dairy-free yogurt is pretty delicious too. We have a really good one here. I used to really love plain yogurt, so that's my flavor profile that I enjoy in general yogurt. And I found one that is coconut based that has that same kind of tanginess that you get from plain yogurt. So I get that and I'm very happy with it. And I quite enjoy the fake cheeses too. It doesn't have any milk in it, but egg whites and nuts. That's perfectly fine. Yes, 100%. I love dairy products, but I'm lactose intolerant, so I choose consciously what I want to suffer from and whether I want. Yeah, it makes you really appreciate the nature of the sacrifice, right? You're like, is this cheap cheese worth it, or should I keep my points to have a bit of that fancy cheese, you know? Triangle noses. Yeah, and maybe eyes, like I was either like, maybe closed eyes would be fun too. But yeah, I will do a bunch of sketches when I get there. Still need to, you know, make the whole thing. Oh, I am not lactose intolerant and I'm so happy. That's good news, Paolo. Did you figure out what was bothering you? Before I knew what was up, I felt so awful all the time because yeah, same. It was like it was getting unmanageable and would never really get any better until I stopped eating all dairy. And then it got better. So I was like, oh, that's a clear enough sign that there's an issue there. So I tried a bunch of things. I tried like lactose free. I tried to eat goat milk products because, you know, it's a bit different, but none of that would really help. And then the pattern that kind of came through was that, like, butter didn't give me any issue, but everything else would. And then I was like, oh, it's probably that stupid dairy protein. Like, the lactose-free stuff didn't make any difference. Jesus. That must have been funny. I don't react to hard cheeses, so I enjoy those a lot. Yeah, those usually have very little, if any, lactose. Like, the fresher the cheese, the more lactose it has. Because I think as the cheese ages, the sugar, which is the lactose, gets transformed into something else. I think that carton of milk was good. Straight up cursed. I like that. I think I'm gonna try to use that word to describe everything that goes out of date, you know. Oh, it's not like spoiled, it's cursed. It's so much funnier. And I mean, have you seen something with mold on it? It definitely looks cursed, so very fitting. That's how I found out too. Reduce foods to manageable products and then reintroduce slowly to see what I react to. Yeah. I actually substituted yogurt for soy yogurt and it's fine for me. And milk. Yeah, I don't have any issue with any of the alternative milks. My favorite is oat. Because it's, you know, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Like, soy milk has the advantages of having protein in it, but it has a really strong taste. So sometimes that feels weird in certain coffees or teas. Oat doesn't really have that aftertaste, but it has no protein in it at all. And it's very creamy and soft, so that's good. And then almond is awful when it's warm. But my main issue with almond milk is that the producing of almonds is kind of problematic. So unless we figure out a better way to do it, like I think they have a much easier time producing oats and soy than they do almonds. So I'll try to stick to almond and soy. Soy. They tell me I need a yogurt for the life cultures for my stomach, so I comply with. Yeah. As long as you can have it. I mean, if you can have, like, it's with anything. If you can eat it, please do. All the better. I used to really love banana yogurt. And the thing I would do often was just have plain yogurt with chopped bananas in it. I still do it. I don't think you should substitute if you have... Oh yeah, sustainable. That's the word I was looking for. Almond milk is not super sustainable right now, because a lot of the almonds are grown in California, and the almond trees require a lot of water, but California is experiencing droughts like for the last I don't know how many years, so it makes it really inefficient and expensive to grow almond trees. And then to kind of use those almonds to make milk, it's a bit silly. Oat milk is weirdly sweet over here, so I don't like it as much. Oh really? Even the unsweetened versions. I like to get the unsweetened vanilla one here, because it adds that little extra something to teas and coffees. I like the hint of vanilla is really nice. Almond is double the price of soy, so almond for soy. That's my yogurt. That's my breakfast yogurt with bananas and oat flakes. Yummy. As well, some Nutella in the yogurt. Really? I've never really tried that. Though Nutella is one of those things that I gotta be careful because of it has enough milk in it, I think, to be a bit of a bother if I eat too much. But I've tried plain yogurt with chocolate chips, and that's quite yummy. Also, another spin on plain yogurt that is delicious is pistachios and honey. Dude, that's next level, honestly. Like, pistachio are expensive AF, so I don't get it often. Especially shelled pistachios. They're really hard to find and they're really expensive, but every once in a while I find some. And yogurt with, yeah, shelled pistachios and honey, and it's really yummy. There are a couple of Nutellas that don't have, well, I call them Nutellas, but they're not from the brand Nutella, but that are dairy-free. They're just really expensive and much harder to find. But they exist, I've seen them, I've tried them. Whoever came up with Nutella, I don't know how many years ago, was really onto something clever. It was like, hey, how would you like some delicious icing for breakfast? Icing, you say? Yeah. I'll put some hazelnuts in there so that it's, you know, hazelnuts and dairy, so it has a bit of nutrition, just a tiny bit, but also a ton of sugar and oil, and it's gonna taste amazing. And you're like, okay, let's have it. Oh, praline paste is something that I cannot find here, and I wish I could. All the praline stuff I found here has dairy in it, but I mean, when I looked into it, the recipe for praline usually is just sugar, almonds, and hazelnuts, and you kind of cook everything together, and then you blend it up until it forms a paste, and that's it. That's praline. I have a question. What do you use for cheesecake? In Germany we use quark, which is a soft cheese and sweetened, no gelatin. But I shared a recipe and that was unknown. We talked about it last week, so that's funny. Not last week, but last stream. Most of the recipes over here, they will use Philadelphia cream cheese. Yeah, no dairy in praline. I know, but every single thing with praline here that I can find, even if it's imported, has dairy in it. And it just breaks my brain. Can you imagine if you could buy like a small jar of praline paste to spread on toasts in the morning? How amazing would that be? Philadelphia is not the real deal. I know, but that's what every single cheesecake recipe will use. Makes no sense, but yeah, me and Paulo, well, Paulo and I, we were talking about that, and I was asking him, like, hey, so you're in Portugal, right? So do you guys have like actual cream cheese in your cheesecakes? And he was like, no, we use Philadelphia too. And I was like, what? That's so weird, but yeah, apparently the dominion of craft is very wide and far-reaching. I've never really liked cheesecake, so I don't have any first-hand experience, but what did they use in Portugal? They used cream cheese, like Philadelphia too. Which is a bit baffling, but yeah. Like, Philadelphia cream cheese is such a weird food stuff. Cork or Philadelphia. So, bit of both. My aunt has a great cheesecake recipe, which is the highlight of every family. Ooh, wow. It's one of those that are worth suffering from. Is it, I know that cheesecakes often are, not just plain cheesecake, and that they often have like fruits served with them, or coulis or something. So What's the kind of flavor of your aunt's recipe? Quark is such a funny name for a cheese. There was a graphic design software that was named Quark Express. I don't know if it still exists, but it was a thing 20 years ago. It has a what top? That word in French means a kiss. So quark is also a German word for nonsense. Nonsense cheese. Let's go. Isn't it called busy egg whites that hardens when... Isn't that meringue? I don't know. Paulo would know. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what it's named. It's kind of chewy a bit, but mostly made from sugar and egg whites. Oh, maybe it's called... You probably don't pronounce it the French way, though. Yeah, sugar and egg whites. We do, though. Really? We know it's a French word. Oh, well, I mean, you never know with words. Like, the way it's written can be used in two different languages and sound different and mean different things, so... Okay, so yeah, it is meringue. Maybe we put kisses on the cake. Maybe. There's a German cookie, Anisbredel. I don't know how you say it, but that's basically that base of egg whites and sugar, and it has, I think it has hazelnut flour in it, and anise. My mom used to make them. Just looked up in the dictionary and it translates the German basic meringue. I wonder why we call it that. Yeah, me too. So cheesecake with meringue on top. It's gotta be a pretty, you know, overall soft taste or light taste, because you don't have really anything to spike it up. Also, bathwords is kind of used in a somewhat informal way to also mean have sex in French, so perhaps to keep in mind. It does, and it has some lemon juice in it for freshness, and the top for some reason creates golden drops. It's really cool. It sounds really pretty. I think I've mentioned it before, but meringue is delicious with Nutella. If you can get meringue cookies, you can make meringue Nutella sandwich cookies. And they are really delicious. Yeah, I saw the vulgar translation in the dictionary. So we'll keep it in mind. Oh yeah. Posted pic of crumble. Ooh. Oh man, I'm eager to see. I love a good crumble. Like an apple crumble is particularly delicious if you add nuts in the crumble mix. Also good with pears if you happen to have pears instead of apples. Any kind of orchard fruit. We did that on a whim once and it really elevated the whole thing. Okay, so question for people in chat. Hold on, my brain. Okay, walnuts. I don't know why, but quite a lot of my local friends have gripes against walnuts and much prefer pecans. And to me, that's silly. And I was wondering if you guys find yourself in a similar situation where you prefer one to the other, or if you are more like me and don't really care as long as, you know, the nuts are not rancid. Kind of a given, but yeah. Did you know you can somewhat salvage rancid nuts by cooking them? Perhaps they are still cursed, but the cooking them kind of hides the curse somewhat, and they don't taste gross anymore. They taste like you would expect roasted nuts to taste. I like both. Pecans are a bit sweet. Yeah, they are definitely sweet. But the friends find that walnuts are a bit too bitter. They prefer pecans, but I'm like, I feel like each nut has its own hues depending on the recipe. Like sometimes I find that pecans are too sweet. Like for the purpose, I mean, not on their own, but you know. I have a limited experience with pecans, but I love walnuts. Walnuts are yummy. They're really good in a lot of things, and they kind of cook well, like they roast well, I find. I also freeze or keep my nuts in the fridge so they don't get rancid. The only nut I hate with passion is macadamia. Oh, why? No, if I want a ball of oil in my mouth, I would drink. Not even like broken up and like in a cookie or something. The best pecans I tried was in Jerusalem, which I bought from an Arabic shop close to the hotel. The man was super nice and suggested to get them, and he was right, they were a perfect snack. Oh, that sounds amazing. They are so gross. So what about Brazil nuts then? They're very similar in terms of, you know, fat level. I initially got into the shop to get water to drink. The nuts tasted so nice and fresh. Not still at all. Which can happen here. Yeah, they must have been so fresh. Sounds amazing. My favorite nut is pine nut. What is pine nut? It's literally a small. It looks a bit like a sunflower seed in terms of size and shape, but it's rounder and it's beige white, and you literally find it inside some pine cones. Like if you look between two sort of pieces of the pine cone, you might find a little a small hard shell nut thingamajig there, and you break it and inside is the pine nut. Yeah, the kernels from pine cones. Thank you so much. Why are words so difficult? Words are hard to find. It is used in pesto genovese. It's used in I think you're technically supposed to use it in pesto rosso too. I had to look it up. Never heard it called nut before. It's the most expensive nut. Really? I didn't know that. Over here, I wonder if pistachio is not the more expensive nut. Those are best fresh too. Every nut is best fresh, mind you. My father used to collect them himself. Dangerous hobby. Why dangerous? And the shell of the kernels is super hard, but they're delicious. Yeah. Once you break it apart though. One kilogram of pine nuts can go for like 75 euros. Oof. In Russia, they have candied young pine cones as treats and taste delicious too. Very woody. Wow, that's very peculiar. Dangerous because they have to climb pine trees. Okay. I was like, what's the nature of the danger? Is it from climbing? Is it from getting pine cones on the face? Like, there are this happening like that. Jeez. That's a kind of a good defense mechanism from the trees. Oh yeah? You wanna steal our seeds? Okay. Well, come and get them. You know, evil pine tree. People fall down the trees. Yeah. The pine tree is like, these are for birds, not for you. And young pine branches can be eaten too and taste like unripe mango, and I love this taste. That's so peculiar. It's the kind of thing that, you know, makes you think, who was the first person who decided to try that out? A bit like, you know, oysters and whatnot. Like, who took a look at an oyster and was like, you know, I think I'm gonna try eating it raw. Ugh. No, thank you. Or like durian. You know, that fruit that's really stinky. But the Russians eating trees is weird. It's just like, I feel like it's probably like that. It's a bit like roasting chestnuts, you know, but you just, when you've never heard of it, and over here, like a pine cone is not something anyone would ever consider edible. So it's kind of weird to imagine someone be like, you know what, I'm gonna candy this and eat it. Okay, do you want to candy this grass too and this leaf? And you know, it's just so unusual. I still buy unripe mango for that taste. Huh. People thought that lobster is really weird to eat, mind you. I don't like it. I just feel so bad for the lobsters. There's a series of video on YouTube of someone who bought a, I don't know, I think a grocery store lobster, but they decided to keep it as a pet instead. Well, the young ones, the green ones, they also turn very soft. Oh, I'm doing a Mont Blanc this year, so I'm making marron glacé from scratch. What does lobster taste like? Oh, that tastes like lobster? The pet lobster? Yeah, I know it's a Simpson episode, but I'm pretty sure I've seen a guy on YouTube with videos of his lobster. And how the lobster was molting and all that. I mean, of course there has to be someone on YouTube who did that. Alright, so what's a Mont Blanc? Besides a mountain and a brand of pen and ink. Leon. Yeah, that's it. That's Leon the lobster. Thank you. He bought a grocery store lobster and keeps it as a pet. I wonder if it's still going. I like to hear you pronounce all the French words. It's just easier sometimes because trying to pronounce them in English can be just weird for the brain to be like, okay, this is a French word that you recognize as French, but to make it understandable, you kind of have to say it with an English accent as best you can. And you're like, I'm sorry, what? I think it's only reasonable that you pronounce them in French. I think that people look at what animals eat. Oh, and then they go like, oh, if the animal can eat that, maybe I can too. Oh. Double-edged sword, because I'm pretty sure that there are a couple of things out there that would be toxic for us, but yeah, makes sense. Last I knew, yes, Leon had shed twice and has some resilient tank mates in crabs and a few others. You can even buy Leon merch now. He even survived the move to a new home. Oh, I love that. He's living his best life. Lobsters are really fascinating. There's the big aquarium in Toronto. I went there once and they had like lobsters with really interesting colors, and you wouldn't expect that, really. I think there was like super bright blue lobsters, like insanely blue, like ultramarine blue lobsters. Like, I know some lobsters can be a bit blue or bluish, but those were like way too bright. Yeah, I don't know. I think I got some. I saw too many awful things done to lobsters that I don't really appreciate that as a food option anymore. Like, I worked in a restaurant where they would cut the lobsters in half alive, and I just, yeah, I know it's a lobster, but feels unnecessary in a way. The guy has like 8 cats too, between the ones he had and his girlfriends when they merge households, and the blue lobsters at Ripley's are super cool. 8 cats? Yeah, so he's one of us basically. Yeah, alive. Like, he would. Anyway, it was just. They would like cut them in half and then put the halves in a baking dish and put them in the oven, sort of. And I think it was just like, and they would make jokes, and I would just be like, you know what? I don't agree with this personally. It's not a very respectful way to treat them, I feel. Even if it's just a lobster, yeah, I know. Yeah, it is not very cool. It's at least morally difficult. Like, even if someone was like, oh, but they don't really feel anything, or I don't know what, but it just, It's hard morally to see someone cut a living lobster in half to bake them. Like, you know what? Nah. Nope. There's a bunch of food items that I just don't feel are worth the effort, like frog legs. Like, really? You're telling me you're gonna, you know, grab frogs just for their legs and a bunch of them too? And I mean, if they're the only thing left to eat and there's way too many of them, possibly, but otherwise, what? You can't eat, like, something else? Of course they feel they have a nervous system, they feel this pain, yeah. But I would rather have a Leon in the tank to look at than one on my plate, and I don't care if they feel anything or not. No thanks. Yeah, exactly. That's the weird thing. Like, there's a bunch of things that I feel we kind of don't really need to eat, and like I feel like crabs and lobsters and frog legs and, you know, like whales to a certain extent. I feel like the smaller it is, up to a certain degree, I'm like, really? Doesn't feel very optimized, you know? If you're gonna go through the hassle of eating something that was once, you know, alive, perhaps you should consider a way to be efficient about it. Yeah, and mind you, like, cooking the lobster the way they did, they really didn't do anything special. I think it was just for the presentation, and in my honest opinion, I don't think it looked any good, because you would get all the guts and bits of the lobster there, you know. I think you can get away making something look good by, you know, taking out just the claws and the tail and making a pretty presentation with that. But yeah, I mean, at that point, you can make the, yeah, but still, like, a lot of people will just throw them in the boiling water pot, like from the aquarium to the water. Nah, I'm okay. Unless you're talking about the frogs, but I mean, still, I don't know, it doesn't feel very efficient. They didn't remove the guts even. I don't think so. I think they left the guts in there. It's a very long time ago, so I perhaps would, you know, take this with a grain of salt regarding my memories of it, but the memory I have of it is just like the chopping, putting the halves in the thing, baking it. When it's baked, they would plate it up and serve that. Really? I didn't know that, Ellen. That's really surprising. Ellen says, I'm amazed at how many people think lobster is fancy. Back in the day, they were basically potatoes of the sea. Cheap and for poor people. Cheaper than bologna. You remove the thorax part. Keep claws and tail. Center part doesn't tend to be served unless eating the whole. Yeah, maybe they... I don't really remember. Perhaps they would cut it up after cooking it. But yeah, I mean, it was a weird... It was a restaurant that was trying to be fancy, but at the same time wasn't very fancy. Like, it was kind of uninspired and mostly for tourists. I went in that area not long ago, and it absolutely does not exist anymore. It's an entirely different restaurant now. And I was like, good. I remember the legs moving and the... Oh. Ew, the legs moving in the garbage can after you were butchered. It wasn't my favorite thing. This was a legit 4-star place. Ugh. Nope, nope, nope. Nope. Just nope. It's the same with caviar, which was a waste product before it was fancy, and rucola, which was considered weed. Is that what they put in the rucola cough drops? If so, oh my gosh. But yeah, lobster once a very common man's food. Well, you know, when you look at some of their lobster recipes, that makes a lot of sense. When you have them in, you know, in a hot dog bun, with kind of like lobster salad in a hot dog bun with fries. That's not fancy in its, you know, original idea. Rucola is right. Oh, really? Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, though, mind you, racket or arugula or rucola is delicious. It's peppery. And it's a lot more interesting than most salads, or lettuces, I should say. Arugula. Arugula. My brain thought the name was the same. Arugula rocket. Worst weed ever. It's also a bit nutty. Yeah, it is. It's really delicious. Why is it the worst weed ever, Apollo? I don't ever buy it because, you know, the only way to buy it is those pre-washed salad container, and it's more often than not kind of gross, but it's a delicious taste. I don't mind it. I'm very picky on lettuces, but I don't mind arugula. The only lettuce I really like is one that a lot of people really don't like, and it's iceberg lettuce. It's a weed. Changed my mind about it. I don't like it. I prefer bitter ones like radicchio or frise. But I love lettuce, every kind of lettuce. Yeah, I don't like bitter lettuce, so that's why I kind of prefer iceberg, because the iceberg lettuce has more water in it, and it can be like crunchier, and it's a lot less bitter. Like I can eat iceberg lettuce like you would a bag of chips, no problem. Yeah, a lot of people diss iceberg lettuce. I think my favorite one is Oak Park lettuce. My dad loves iceberg lettuce. He'll have that and mustard on a sandwich only if you let him. High five your dad. It sounds like a delicious sandwich, to be honest. People like it a lot here. Really, I have it in the fridge. I have one in the fridge too, but usually a lot of people will snub it. But I like it. My dad likes it too. I like green leaf lettuce, big fluffy leaf, great for sandwiches. Iceberg tastes like water. Yeah, but that's the whole point. At least it's not bitter. It's crunchy and refreshing. Crunchy water, exactly. I like it, but it's not the taste. Oh, definitely. It doesn't taste like much of anything. Like it's not a strong taste. Like you say, it's mostly water. But you know, it's fun in a lot of settings. I think personally the most interesting salads are the ones that have a mix of various lettuces in there, so you get a bit of everything. But yeah. We had a local place that was called Soiled Reputation that grew spring mix year round. I miss that place. So you could get it fresh? That sounds amazing. Like, lettuces are not very difficult to grow. I think they grow kind of fast. There's a bunch of cats. This one is really uneven, so I hope I won't have too many issues with sewing it to the next, to the column here. Actually, it's going to be this way, but... Cats, cats, cats. All the cats. Yep, they supplied most of the restaurants for years around here. That's such a good idea. Because let's face it, a restaurant spring mix is unedible like 9 times out of 10. They don't sort it out. They don't like remove the disgusting leaves from the good ones. So the whole thing is unedible. A Mizuna. Mizuna is quite bitter, right? Is it the one that they call the mustard greens? Or is that a different one? Hey Paulo, do you grow shiso? Yeah, Japanese mustard, Mizuna, I think. I really love this idea of having a place that provides like absolutely fresh spring mix, like a spring mix dispenser. It's on my to-do list. Awesome! It's such a fun herb to grow, and it's delicious. It depends on where you're eating it from. I was paid for hours and hours to sort spring mix into edible and goo. Well, that must have, like, that place, however bad it could have been, has at least that on a lot of other restaurants. Every single restaurants I've been to where they put spring mix in my plate, it was tainted by the goo, and I just couldn't eat it. Like, it's fine if you sort it out and you rinse the spring mix and you spin it, you know, like, even if it was in contact with goo, you can sort of clean it up, but you cannot eat something that has been spoiled with goo. It's cursed. There you go. It's absolutely cursed. Well, I'm gonna end the stream anyway, so take your time, Lana. Enjoy your walk. Because yeah, I need to stretch out and to drink a lot of water. It's not very common here, and I wanted to try it. Yeah, you can grow the green and the red shiso leaves, and they're really good with beef, I think. But I've also seen shiso in some, if I remember right, in some alcoholic drinks, like cocktails, and I think it's gotta be good in salads and whatnot too. And that's totally fair. I hated the gooey bits. The gooey bits are so gross. Oh, they're so cursed. Yeah, let's end the stream on cursed. That's a very good... Sorry I was dozing for most of it, but it was good. Yeah, definitely good to see you too, Ellen. I'm really glad that things have, you know, calmed down and you can pop by the stream a bit more. Also enjoy your photos on Instagram, so... Well, thank you so much, guys, for being here today. I can't believe it's already dark outside. It's only 4 p.m. It's not even fully winter yet. Help! But, yeah. So, if everything goes to plan, there should be a stream next week. I will try to, you know, like I always do, either post a video here to say that there's no stream, or, you know, post the stream and also have it as an event on the Discord server. So anyway, I hope you guys have a fun week. I hope you eat good stuff, and if you feel like it, make fun art. And we will see each other in the next one. So, bye bye.